everyone. Out here in the hammock, which has kind of become my happy place. Pooch has decided to join me. It's raining, which I think is kind of an appropriate weather mood for what's going on today. I'm recording this on Tuesday, and the time is 3:38. It's election day, and I've decided I'm just shutting off social media for the day because it's getting a little ridiculous. I'm proud of everybody who voted. I love seeing that I voted. Stickers and people who showed up to the polls. What I don't appreciate is the high horse and mentality and the argumentative part of it, and wanting to start conversations about politics the day that we're electing stuff. And so I'm wanting to say this without even knowing who wins tonight, because I think regardless of who wins the election, what I'm about to say is true. Tomorrow we're going to hopefully know who's our next president, but we have to hopefully change something starting tomorrow that puts us on a better course. Everybody says that they hate the two choices. It's like choosing between stabbing yourself or shooting yourself, and I get that. I mean, they're horrendous choices. But what I get frustrated about is I'll start back 4 years ago. 4 years ago on election day, 2012, I was sitting in a hospital and watching the election through Wi-Fi at the hospital because one of Jared's really close friends, his sister, was fighting for her life. And so we're all sitting in the waiting room, and things are hard because we're worried about his sister, and we're watching Obama get reelected. And I remember it being a very low point, and the biggest question that I had was, how did it get this far? What happened to get us to this point? How can people be okay with what's happened over the last 4 years? And so I chose to then make sure that I was informed. I chose to start paying attention to politics. It's not my favorite. It makes me angry. I have to be sensitive about how much I get involved with it because you can't make good decisions based on emotions sometimes, a lot of times. But I chose to get involved. I chose to pay attention to what was going on. I chose to pay attention to not just one side, but both sides of the argument, both sides of the aisle, so to speak. And so now that I'm sitting here on this election day, I know exactly how we got here. I know exactly why we're in the situation we're in, and it's due to apathy. It's what it comes down to. There's been so many statistics rolling around about how many people actually vote, and who voted in the primary and why the candidates are who they are. But the biggest thing is a lot of people only show up to vote every 4 years, and there's elections every single year, whether it be at our local or state levels. And so my first thing that I would just say is my hope for America and for my fellow Americans is that you actually pay attention. The Constitution says that we're a government by the people, for the people. And so that word by the people, that phrase by the people, means something to me because that means I have a job. I have a job to be an informed voter. I have a job to stand for the principles that I believe in and vote for what I think is the best route for America, even if I'm in a minority. And so I think we've delegated a lot of our responsibility to the government. I mean, if you think about it, if you are at a workplace and you have a job and you don't do that job, then you're not going to have that job soon. And so Americans haven't been doing their job as citizens to vote with good information and with thought through policies. And so we're going to not have our job anymore because we keep giving more and more of our job over to the government. The second thing that I would ask is that as we go through and look at policies, as we go through and think critically about our government and where we want our nation to go, I would pray that we learn how to civilly argue, where we don't call names, where we don't get so engrossed in this I win, you lose situation in our brains. It doesn't have to be that way. And I don't think that it was that way whenever our founders got together and were arguing about how to do the Constitution. I think we like to blow things out of proportion because it makes big news. And we have a flair for the dramatic. This video is going to air tomorrow, which is Wednesday. It's the day after the election. And so regardless of who wins, that's what I'm praying for America. I'm praying that we do our job as citizens. Yes, God is ultimately in control, but we have to do the job that is required of us to make sure that this government is the way we want it. And two, I pray that we learn how to argue civilly. Civilly? With civility. There we go. And that, we can have several conversations, but at the end of them, we can either change our mind without having so much pride, or we can just agree to disagree. So I hope that's helpful. And I'm going to be trying to put that into action in my own life. And if you have any other questions, feel free to talk to me about it. I think it's important for us to talk about politics. It's kind of like religion. People don't like to talk about it because it causes arguments. But I think that if we decide to change that, then we can change it. We live in America, and we live in a place where we can pretty much do a lot of really cool things if we just put our mind to it. Thanks for listening to my rant. I'm going to listen to the rain, and happy election day.